What is going on, YouTube? I hope you're doing well and amazing, everybody. Listen, if you're watching this video, chances are you are an online fitness coach trying to grow your business, but right now you may be a bit frustrated because you are putting in lots of work, you're getting on sales calls, but at the end of the calls, you're hearing, I need to think about it. I need to check my budget. I need to talk to my partner. I just don't have the money. I don't have the finances. I'll reach back another time. And it's a lot of objections you're getting, especially the one right here on the screen is I need to think this over. I don't make quick decisions. I have to think about it. And then you never hear from them really again. Like, I understand, I've been there for sure, and that's maybe where you're at right now, and I get it because it's super, super frustrating. It's stressful. You're working so hard, coaches. I get it because you are posting content, right? And that's gonna be a whole job in itself. You're posting, you're editing, you're sitting there just waiting for it to publish, and you're putting that work in, and then you hop in the DMs, you talk to some people, which is time consuming, it takes effort. Then you have the sales call, which you're thinking about all day, maybe a little bit nervous for it. You get on the call, you do your whole thing, and then at the end of that whole process, you just kind of get really disappointed because it just ends with, I need to think about it, I'll get back to you, and they never really get back to you. And I understand. It is super, super frustrating. It's demotivating, and it kind of just has us questioning ourselves like, what am I doing wrong? Am I even made out for this? Is this even worth it? Am I a good fit for this? And listen, I want to fully help you in this video, all right? Literally, one of my clients, Nick, was running into the same issues, but then we actually put in place what we're going to talk about, these frameworks in this video. And also, right, in terms of just making sure your sales system is good, I think that's going to be a big part of it. Now, when someone says I need to think about it, all that, I do give my clients a certain sales system objection process where whatever the prospect is saying, we are going to actually hit them back with a response and eventually go through a word track, a sequence to get them to eventually buy. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. We're actually going to be talking about objection prevention, coaches, okay? The main things that you can do right here, right now to eventually have calls. And at the end of the call, they're like, yes, coach, I want to work with you. Here's my credit card. Not, I have to think about it. All right, so we're going to be going over objection prevention. I was talking about my client, Nick. This was happening a lot. We implemented what we're going to be talking about, and now he gets $300 per month online fitness clients left and right every single week because we are implementing what we put in place in this video that we're going to go over right now. So I'm excited to get into it. Let's do this and let's go. All right, so let's get into it. Reason number one, why you are running into I have to think about it on sales calls is you're having superficial DM conversations. All right, coaches, so like you're in the DMs, maybe you extract some goals that they have, some struggles, but then you literally get right into trying to book the call. That's literally like meeting someone at the bar and 3 minutes in, you're trying to get into bed with them. That's what's going on in your conversations, and it's not going to work. Someone's not going to pay you 3 to 5K like after they just share some struggles and goals and get to know you a bit better. You need to be digging deeper, especially in the DM combos. This is going to have them book in calls. They'll be ready for the calls. They'll show up to the calls. They'll be ready to buy at the end of the call. All right, so some key questions I have my clients ask is once they share the goal, we ask, I love it, you want to lose 20 pounds. Is this mostly for looks, question mark, or something deeper than that? And so then they start thinking, this is deeper. I want to feel confident. I want to date again. I want to go into the beach, right, this summer and feel absolutely amazing, right? So you get into the deeper layers of their motivation. All right, also, after finding out their struggles, what we usually ask, we validate their struggles, acknowledge, but then we ask how long it's been going on for. And so they can think, okay, this hasn't just been a couple weeks, it's been like since 2021, right? It's been like 5-6 years since this has been going on, right? So we're really making the gap wide of where they want to go to where they are right now. What's going to fill that gap is your program. The wider the gap, the more they will pay. All right, so enough with the superficial DM conversations. Make sure you have the right scripting and processing to make sure that they're fully in at the end of the call, willing to pay you, okay? Next thing, right? Reason number 2 is you don't have a qualification process when booking calls, right? Some of these leads, they're either maybe just not ready or they just don't have the budget, and then you're going through this whole process, having the call, you're taking up 60 to 90 minutes sometimes, and then I just have to think about it, right? And it's super like demotivating, but they probably shouldn't have been on the call for the first place, some of them, right? So what you can do is first in the DM conversation, what you can actually slip in there if you're not really sure if they're too qualified is ask them, like, just totally curious, what do you do for work and how active does it keep you? Right? And so that is our sneaky way of qualifying them, because if they're like, I'm unemployed, maybe not the best fit for a call, right? But if they're like, oh, I'm a lawyer and I get like 8,000 steps per day, that's perfect, right? We're just trying to find out what job they do, and we indirectly kind of throw in the fitness as well, like how active does it keep you? But in reality, we're just trying to find out, do they actually have a paying job where they can pay 3 to 5K for a program? Okay, so you could slide that into the DMs, but also if you're sending call links, like for example on Calendly, you can make sure that before they actually lock in a call, you ask some questions, right? And some of those questions could be like, is this a priority for you to do right now? Right? That can be an option, or it can be like an option where it's like, this is a do it later type of thing. Last option is like, I don't want to better my life, right? So the last option is like, I just don't want to do this. No one really chooses that, but some people might choose, this is a do it later type of thing. Boom. Now you have to address this before the call. What we personally do and what I train my clients to do is once they fill out the application, they say something like that, where it's not really a priority. We'll go back and be like, John, love that you want to lose 20 pounds. Checked out your application. It really stands out to me that you want to do this for you and your family. Message 1. Message 2. However, I was checking in terms of priority levels. You did put that this is kind of a here's some info and do it later type of thing. Was that a mistake? ? So now I'm asking them if the option they chose was a mistake, because me as the coach, right, I just assume they're in. I just assume like we're fucking doing this, right? So now they're thinking like, oh, this guy is serious. Like he probably doesn't work with uncommitted people. He thinks like I did that as a mistake, right? And so we're kind of like calling them out, kind of questioning them, but it's like, was that a mistake, John? Like what's going on, right? And they'll tell you the real objection right there, right? Also, you can simply just ask their budget in the actual form, right? We try to put this towards the end, because once you put it towards the end, they're already like, all right, let me just complete this. Let me fill it out, because they're already almost done. And then you could be like, have a multiple choice question. What does your budget look like to invest in yourself to better your future and become the most confident version of yourself, right? And you could put, right, some different options like 0 to 500, right? And you'll be surprised. I've had potential clients fill out that 0 to 500 option, and they pay 3.2K USD for a program, right? We just need to see if like literally they're willing to invest anything. All right. And then on the call, they'll see all the value, right? So 0 to 500, 1K, 500 to 1K, and you could kind of move down the ladder there. And then you could also have an option just like not willing to invest in myself. If they choose that, again, we go back to the DMs, we acknowledge that they filled out a great application, but then we question, was that part a mistake? Okay, so you can literally have qualifying questions as they're booking the call. This is going to be very important, and this is going to actually separate the people that are serious and then the not so people that are kind of just window shopping. They're not action takers, they're tire kickers, and they could just soak up the free value, but we want to work with action takers, right? So those are the people we can truly help. So qualification process when booking calls. Reason number 3, okay, second to last one here, almost finished. Now, reason 3 is you're not digging deep enough during discovery. There's 2 parts to a call, okay? There's going to be the discovery phase and then the program overview. Discovery phase is when you're asking specific questions to have them see where do they want to go, top of the mountain, to where are they right now, stuck in the valley. We want to build that gap. The wider the gap, the more that they will pay. So if you're just asking on the call, what's your struggle? What are your goals? Cool. want to know how my program works, it's just not going to really work, right? We want to really ask deeper questions, and we want to bring the pain level deep, but also the desire deep. I like to say too, right? If we bring the pain level deep, think about someone that needs surgery, right? Let's say, God forbid, someone has a very bad injury and they're in a lot of pain. They're going into the medical facility. They're going into the hospital about to get surgery. They're not going to be like, wait, before you put the anesthesia in me, whatever, however you say that, if it's in you or whatever, before I go under and you do this surgery, like, how much is this going to cost? They're not going to say that. They're just going to get the surgery because they're in so much pain. Same thing with your potential clients. They're just going to pay you because they are in so much pain. All right. So asking deeper questions where it's like also how you ask them, right? I'm not going to say, so what's your biggest struggle? Be like, so John, this has been going on for a while. Like, what do you think your biggest struggles are to actually losing the 20 pounds? And I have a genuine tone and I slow down my voice because fast answers, fast questions get fast responses. We want to slow it down so they really think about what they're going to say. All right. Yeah, I've been struggling for a while. How's that like been affecting you like in your personal life? It's hard for me to go out. I don't have a lot of confidence. It's hard for me to date. I'm on the dating apps. I'm getting no luck. Now they're really opening up. Okay. And also asking key questions like, well, John, like, you've been struggling for a long time. If we do nothing on this call here, like, what do you think is going to happen later on down the line? Things are going to stay the same. Are they stuck? Right. And now they're seeing that it's actually more expensive for them not to do anything compared to actually pay you. Right. But also we can ask the vision questions. We call it selling the vacation. So John, when you lose the 20 pounds, you have more confidence. Like, how's that going to affect you in your personal life once you feel amazing? I'm going to feel good. I'm going to get the Tinder dates. I don't know, whatever. Like, I'm going to be able to step on the beach and finally not be able to hide under my towel, and I'll have ultimate freedom and confidence, feeling good, right? Feeling good. Amazing. Love that. And like, how's that also going to affect your work as well? Because you said you give presentations, right? You're kind of high up in your work. Like, do you definitely think this will help your job too? Yeah, I'll probably get that raise. I'm going to crush my promotions. I'm not going to have that insecurity when I present in front of the boardroom, all those things. So we want to dig deep in two different areas, in their pains, but also their visions. All right. Very important. Those first 3 steps alone, coaches, you're probably not going to run and have to think about it because it's like, what do you have to think about? I don't say that. Like I said earlier, I give all my clients specific word tracks and processes to like rebuttal objections. You don't necessarily want to like challenge prospects and be like, what do you have to think about? Oof, that's not going to go over well. But all right, in our mind, we're thinking like, dude, what do you have to think about, right? Especially if you actually committed to steps 1, 2, and 3, reasons 1, 2, and 3, it's going to definitely work. All right. But last very important reason why you're getting, I have to think about and how we can fix it. All right. You are feature focused selling. Bottom line, you are confusing. All right. You are literally confusing your potential client and they are feeling overwhelmed. All right. They're feeling very overwhelmed at the moment, and that's just not going to sell for you. Because if you get too into the features, coaches, then you're just going to kind of confuse them. Because if you start using words in your sales pitch, your program overview, saying progressive overload, reps in reserve, right? Even like calorie deficit, things like that, things that you think are simple, they're not really simple for your prospect to wrap around their head and make this purchasing decision. Like, they're just kind of confused at the end of the day. Like, they really are, because you're selling the features. You're like, I'm going to give you these workouts, the sets, the reps, and you're giving them fitness jargon. And they're also thinking, I could probably just find this on the internet. And they're just confused because you're selling all the features, selling all the features, selling all the features. They don't really care. Right? Think about, to put it into practical terms, if recently or whenever in your life you got a oil change. If you ever got an oil change, like, think about, did you drop off your car and they're like, okay, perfect, we're going to just like change your oil? Were you like, wait, I want to come into the back and I want to see exactly how they change the oil. Like, I want to see the step-by-step You don't care. You're in the waiting room. You go run an errand for 10, 15 minutes. You're good. You have the car again. That's all you care about is the final outcome. Same thing with your prospects. They don't really care about the progressive overload, and you're going to get a 30-minute warm-up process, and you have to do these RDLs and these stretches, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to do the specific sets, and we're going to do the reps in reserve. Every workout, you're going to increase your weight by 5. They don't give an F. I'm sorry, excuse my language. It's just true, because I made this mistake. A lot of my clients made this mistake before joining us. It's like they're way too focused on the features, and you're overwhelming your prospects. What you want to do, write this down, is use a framework called FAB, Feature, Advantage, Benefit. Okay? So what this means is you do go over the feature quickly and with simplicity, and then most importantly, you go over the advantage of the feature and the benefit. What does that look like? Okay, workouts. Wrong way to do this. I'm going to give you a workout plan. I'll lay it out for you. You'll lose weight. Even that is not bad, but like let's try that again, right? Like in terms of being way too feature focused. Okay, John, I'm going to give you a workout plan with all the sets and reps you have to do. You're going to be crushing it in the gym, really pumping that iron, and I have this specific app. Good? Okay. That was just all features. Instead, John, what I'm going to do to keep it simple for you, I'm going to give you a customized workout system. That's the feature, and I make it sound better, right? So they can't just find this on ChatGPT or the internet. A customized workout system that will save you loads of time, hours of time per week, so you're not wasting time in the gym. That's the advantage. So you can finally lose that last layer of belly fat and step onto the beach this summer feeling so confident. That's the benefit. So you want to wrap your program overview in a bunch of FAB, F-A-B frameworks. So at the end, when you do it, it clicks. They're like, oh, that's exactly what I need. And you keep it simple for them. No more feature-focused selling. All right, so that is it, coaches. This is probably a training you might have to watch like a couple times, take some notes. Those are the 4 main reasons why at the end of the call, they're saying I have to think about it, right? It's like what we can work on. This is objection prevention. Right? If you get objections and you're going through the process, that's actually handling objections. But if we can actually do objection prevention, which is doing certain things in your conversations, marketing, all that, right, to pretty much prevent any objections, that's ideal, right? So it's better to defuse the bomb, right? Like a lot earlier in time compared to when there's like 2 seconds left and you're nervous, right? It's kind of stressful. All right. So hope this all makes sense. Listen, if you do want more one-on-one training and especially one-on-one guidance to make sure that everything's aligned in your business to your marketing, your content, your DM process, your sales process, and getting leads in the door, and also getting more yeses at the end of sales calls. I talked about Nick before. We just had a client, Ezekiel. We call him Izzy because he's the beast. He literally just joined the community last week. We implemented what we just talked about. He made $5,000 in 2 days. 48 hours. He sold 3 clients, total of 5K. Okay? So if you want the same process and you want more help really getting you to $10,000 to $20,000 per month, there is a link in the description of this video. You can book in, see if I can help in any way. You and I would have a one-on-one call. If we're not a good fit, that's okay. You're still going to walk away in a much better position. If we do have a conversation, I'll give you some actionable tips. I could send you to a referral or just point you in the right direction. But if we are a good fit to work together, that is amazing as well. Would love to change your life. So hope this helps. Talk to you soon. Have the best day of your life. God bless you, and bye-bye.